So hello. Today's June 1st, 2025. I want to make a quick video, use my expert cinematographic and oratory skills here and make a little video on a full stack video. So I started stacking metals back in right around the end of 2022. And the very first coins I bought at that time, it was like right after Congress had passed the omnibus bill, and I just saw the way things were going with the inflation and all that. Couldn't barely afford to buy groceries, and so the very first coins that I bought were these. There's something. The design really got me. I mean, I'm a big fan of that. Don't tread on me, the flags and libertarian movement and things, and so these were the best designs that I thought, in my opinion, it was the best design on the coins. And so this was the very first silver that I bought. I bought let's have the receipts for it. I bought like 10 ounces, 10 of these, right around the end of 2022, right after Christmas. And I started, slowly adding, picking up other things. At the same time, I bought these. I also picked up a few little 1 ounce, some 1 ounce rounds. I started off buying rounds. The premiums are a lot better on rounds. And, so I was going for weight more at the time. So I picked up these and, really started tracking my dollar cost averaging, and I'll probably do another video on that sometime whenever I get work out the technological part of it. And so I bought first coins I bought were these. I got into that. This is where I started small, just a few ounces. So I think my very first purchase, I made like 12 and a half ounces on one purchase, which at the time, the metals were being like right around $20, a little over $20 an ounce. So I started with that, and I slowly started, buying other things, and I started diversifying. I think later on I picked up a few of these, 10 of these bars, just basic 1 ounce silver bars, and I, really got into putting everything in a capsule. Everything goes in a capsule. It's just, blame it on my OCD. And I got into a few other designs and things. And these are 2 ounce. At the very beginning, Money Metals Exchange was probably one of my go-to places. I was just learning. I didn't really know much, and I bought a lot from them. Later on, I found cheaper places to buy things. But starting off, I bought a lot from them. Later on, I moved into picking up other rounds and things. It's probably more not my go-to place now. That's where I pick up a lot of silver. I don't mind buying silver online. Gold, I'd rather deal in person. So I picked up, but those 3 tubes there, that's kind of just a mix of all these. These 2 here mix up these 3 tubes. This tube here is just kind of a random mix of different other designs. These Walking Liberties, I thought that was a pretty neat design. The Walking Liberty quarters. Just some basic Golden State Mint Eagle rounds. These Second Amendment rounds I thought were pretty neat. Same place, Golden State Mint. So I picked up a lot of them, and that makes up that tube there. It's just as a mix. Some 2 ounce rounds. Also got into bars. 10 ounce bars, 5 ounce bars, 5 ounce rounds. Just kind of a good mix of things. Lately, the biggest thing I've been adding to my stack are these American Silver Eagles. I've been getting really more into these lately. as far as like silver bullion, I've been picking these up. But because I don't mind buying silver online. Typically, gold I rather do in person. But silver, I don't mind, doing online purchases for silver. I just don't really trust the mailman enough to trust the mailman with that. So lately also with the silver, I made a goal. It's good to have a goal, a target. So I've been buying just any old call piece dollars and quarters, and all your 90% dimes, quarters, half dollars, everything back to barbers. And I'm up to about $50 face in here now. So I mean, that was a good accomplishment. That's why I figured, well, I'll make a video today about it. I think my ultimate goal right now for this is $100. I'm figuring the rate I'm going, give it a little time, and it's going to be $100 in that thing one day. $100 face. And on the side, with just doing with that, a lot of the same places I buy that from, I'm able to pick up these as well, to add on to that. So right now it's just, starting off mostly rounds. I was going for weight. I think altogether right here you're looking at, plus with that, you're looking at over 200 ounces, a little over 200 ounces here. So, and I was just going for weight, and now I'm kind of more into adding more of these. So with gold, and I'll get back to that silver here in a minute. Gold, I'm still a small stack. I'm not real heavy. Mostly you can see I'm just the basic coins that Canadians, Buffalo, and some Eagles. That's Maples, Buffaloes, Eagles. And I'm just up to about 4 ounces here, and it takes a while to get to this. But I typically do in fractional. Like I got a couple of halves in here. I typically buy like quarters and halves, trade up to ounces. Once you have a little bit in fractional, I find it cheaper to come out and trade up. So, and then typically even if I can't afford it for a quarter or a half, I take a little bit of silver if the time seems right, price seems right, GSR seems about right. I take a little bit of silver and get a quarter or a half and move into gold. I started making videos on YouTube about multiple videos I made on my typeset. When I started, because I knew about the constitutional things, and I just kind of started, I started buying fractional silver, and in my buying fractional, I started, tenths, quarters, halves. Well, why not just buy, you 10 cents, 25 cents, and 50 cents. So, and I started looking at that and kind of wondering, well, how far back can you go with constitutional silver? So, well, you can go all the way back to the Constitution. So that's, I started into constitutional 90%. I went straight from that. I really didn't even get that first. I went straight into looking at cap bust and learning about, your ceded liberties and Drake bust, and just went all into it, from being a stacker to learning numismatics. So I think I did multiple videos on how this thing, I put it all together and how I learned things and shared what I learned. Then, alongside with that, not too much. Picked up a few extra things, you know. Sometimes just, you know, looking at your pocket change. You might see something strange in your pocket change, and might find something. What is this? Oh, 1963. I got that at the grocery store, you know. I picked up I got a nice 1963 when I bought groceries. Yeah, on my change. I've also put, you know, I was kind of the future of coinage. 10mm socket. Another future coin. Sometime maybe in the future. That you know, might be to get a gallon of gas or something with that. And you know, there's some other things in here. Nickels, few foreign coins. Sometimes you get, when you're buying from certain sellers, they'll give you, when you're buying, you know, silver, they'll give you, you know, just throw in a few, something extra. You know, so I've got a few extra some foreign coins in there. And it's also good. I mean, sometimes the way I see it, majority of your stack should be silver, gold. You know, if you get into numismatics, that's cool. And just, you know, the basic coins you pick up at the grocery store or whatever, you know. And it's good to have just a little bit, just something to keep me on interest and learn about different things. There's a Golden State Men again. Like, they're one of my favorite online dealers. I picked up just a handful, just a few. These copper rounds. They're just interesting. I really like the Morgan design. Really a fan of that. You know, so, and I also picked up one nickel, a nickel bar. You have copper, nickel, you know. So, went from silver, talked about silver, to about a little over 200. I'm up to 4 ounces of gold. That's kind of my ratio between that 40 to 50. I probably go as high as like 75, maybe 80. Right now, being that GSR is so out of whack. But that's pretty much my range, but that 40 to 50 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. And I would, you know, stick between that. I wouldn't really go as high as like 75, 80 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. And I typically, once I've built up a little bit of silver, I trade it in. My plan coming up probably sometime within the next month or two, when the GSR gets a little better, I want to take probably 25 ounces and trade it into gold. So keep my gold stack going. And gold, because gold, it's hard to get. Being a working man like I am, you know, blue collar, it's to, you know, have to save up. I had like really takes a lot to save, and maybe use like you know, income tax returns or something like that to buy into gold. So it's really hard to plan those purchases. But so I use my silver and I trade that in when the time is right. Seems right, I typically trade it in. I'm working a lot of overtime and things. I try to put a little bit into gold when the time is right. So, not really sure what else I should talk about here, but this is coming along really nice. So, that's all I got today.